And hello, everyone. This is Kimberly Benjamin, and I'm excited to be here today to conduct a session on effective hiring practices. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to our session today. We're going to get right into the content. I'll share with you a little bit about my background, but I'm really excited to be here tonight, sharing with you information regarding how to effectively recruit and hire. My name is Kimberly Benjamin. I'm your instructor for today. As you can see here on the slide, there's information about my background. I am a licensed and certified HR professional with over 27 years of experience in my field, and I travel all over the world, literally teaching businesses and helping HR professionals know what they need to do to stay legal and compliant with HR laws. And I'm excited to be a part of this wonderful e-suite assisting business owners like yourself on different HR topics. So as you can see, my background here on the slide, as I share with you, over 27 years of experience in HR, licensed and certified in HR through SHRM, which is Society of Human Resource Management, and the HR Institute, as well as I've taught human resource classes at U of M College of Business as a professor, and I am a career coach and business coach, and I absolutely love what I do, excited to be here. Some of the places where I worked in the past was at Ford Motor Company, General Motors, U of M, Toys R Us, and some tier suppliers, helping them with their human resource needs. So excited to be here today, everybody. And again, welcome. The company that I have is a consulting company called HR Strategies Plus. And here's our motto: your CEO manages your business, your accountant monitors your finances, but who manages your HR issues and concerns? And so we're going to focus on those HR issues and concerns today and get right into the effective recruitment strategies and practices. As I shared with you earlier, I travel a lot. You can see here on the slide. As of today, I've been at I've assisted 2,673 HR professionals, 2,507 businesses, 72 cities in 31 states. And again, I really am excited to be a part of this e-suite, assisting you with your human resource needs as well. And I travel all over, as I share with you. Here's some of my favorite pictures of me traveling all over the world conducting HR seminars. I love taking pictures, so I just like to share some of my favorite photos when I speak as well. So those are some of my favorite photos as well. So let's talk about some hiring mistakes. What are some of the hiring mistakes that businesses make when it comes to recruiting or hiring individuals? Here's one key mistake: is that they don't have a job description for the position, or there's not a job posting created for the position. Major mistake, because the candidate really should know what type of position that they're hiring for, that they're interviewing for, so that you can adequately know if the person is able to actually perform the duties of the job. So if you don't use a job description in the interviewing process, you could be hiring all kinds of people who cannot fit or will not fit the position. So make sure you start off with having that job description created for each position that you have, and then create a job posting that you could use to help advertise your job openings. And also lets people know too what positions are available and who they need to contact. Here's another mistake that I see often as well when it comes to effective recruitment or hiring practices, is not properly orientating your new hires. A lot of business owners, they're excited to get that first hire, that intern, that new employee, and you tend to like give them all kinds of work. And as you can see here on this slide, this person's just been dumped with all kinds of paperwork. It's critical that you do orientate and onboard that new hire properly, because you want them to be able to stay, as well as you want to be able to see if they really are a great fit for your organization. So make sure that you set them up for success and properly train them, have a buddy that they can work with, or a mentor that can assist them, but invest time in developing your new hires and your summer interns. Another mistake that I commonly see is that business owners may hire someone just because they want to fill the position. They may be hiring the wrong person, maybe that family member, that friend, or that person who really isn't qualified for the position. So it's critical that you do have that job description, as I mentioned earlier, and that you actually hire someone who can do the job, I tell you, you really don't want a bad hire, because that bad hire can really impact morale. That bad hire is not going to be able to do the job properly. And believe me, your employees will be checking that bad hire out, seeing how you handle them. And if you don't handle them properly, then they're going to change their behavior and not be as motivated to do a great job too. So make sure you're hiring someone that can actually perform the job. Another mistake that I see is that sometimes we're quick to go outside and look for another candidate. Whenever we have an open position, people are quick to go out and say, let's go to a job board, let's find a candidate outside. But they forget to look inside the organization and identify some people that are ready to move up. So don't forget about the people that you have in your organization that may be interested in that position. The last thing you want to do is fill it with an outside person, and then the internal person has that little resentment, and they tend to check out in their mind and in their work ethic because they feel slighted against that you went ahead and hired someone outside of the organization. So have a policy or process in place where you allow your internal candidates or your employees to know about your current openings before you post them outside. Now let's go ahead and focus and talk about some effective hiring tips. What are some tips that you really should use so that you can make sure that you are effectively hiring people? Okay. So the first tip I would say is identify who is your best candidate. And that's going to take some time, but it's important that you really identify where is that ideal person hanging out? Where do they go to school? What organizations are they a part of? What type of hanging out strategies, as I call them, where do they hang out? What social media platforms do they use? It's important that you think about that. What are some of their hobbies? What are some of the schools that they've attended? Also, you may want to check out or have that conversation with your coworker and ask them, where did you find a great hire? The other person that you're working with, that other manager, identify where did you find that great hire? And I've been asking you right now, for some of those positions that you've had, how did you find your best candidate? Where do they hang out? So think about your end goal is to find the best candidate for the position. And that's somebody who has the skill set, who has that work ethic, and who has that fit within the organization. Someone that can really excel and be successful in the organization. Now, here's another effective tip to be mindful of, is that when you bring on someone to your organization, it's important that that person fills out an I-9 form. This is for employees, not for independent contractors and not for summer interns, but these are for employees who you're going to pay and they're going to be on your payroll. They need to make sure that they fill out an I-9 form. Now, this I-9 form is the document that helps us to prove that that individual is eligible to work in the United States. It's a document that you must fill out properly. I tell you, if you make mistakes on this document, the fines can be very expensive, ranging from $10,000 per mistake on up. So this is a document you really want to get right, and you really want to be compliant with this particular form. Also, it's important that you do have forms of IDs that you check out, you look at from that candidate or that new hire, making sure that you do read over everything and that they do give you the proper forms. And with this document, it's important that you fill it out on the first day. Now, legally, you have 3 days to complete an I-9 form, but as I conduct seminars, I tell my clients, I don't mess with day 2 and I don't mess with day 3. And I don't want you to mess with day 2 or day 3 either. So on day 1, the very first day, make sure you get that I-9 form completed. Now, for those of you who do use Skype or video resumes, I know that's the trend now. I don't like it myself because I want to make sure that we're not discriminating against candidates, because I am a professional resume writer as well and career coach. And I know we have candidates that are so excited to look for a job. They create a video, they want to put it out there on social media and say, hey, look at me. I'm awesome. You should hire me. But I cringe when I see those videos, because I know that that hiring manager, that supervisor may not be properly trained. in HR, and they could discriminate against you because they see what you look like. So that's just a side nugget on the side. But going back to Skype and video resumes, yes, it's here. A lot of companies use Skype to interview candidates. If that's you, make sure you're very familiar with the technology. Make sure you have a process in place where you're treating every candidate the same. You're asking them the same questions, and that you have a team of people. It's always good to have a team of people participating in Skype interviews on your end as well. So even though I know a Skype and video resumes are here to stay, if you should use that to locate or to identify a candidate, make sure you treat everybody the same and that you're very familiar with the Skype system technology, because sometimes technology doesn't work how we want it to, right? Referral programs. It's important to recognize that studies show that this is a best practice right here. When you're looking to find a candidate, it's important that you develop an employee referral program for your company. Yes, I said it, and it's so true. Um, a person will not refer someone who is a terrible worker. So they don't want their name to be associated with that person that they referred that was a terrible worker. And now you're looking at them sideways because you referred them to the company. So you may want to consider developing an employee referral program for your company. And that way you're able to get your employees engaged, helping to find candidates. I would say the only thing to be mindful of is, yes, you may have employees help participate and refer some people, but make sure that you still have that process in place on how you interview all your candidates, because you don't want to show favoritism, and you really do want to make sure that you hire someone who can actually do the job. Mobile recruiting. Now that's critical as it pertains to effective hiring practices, because nowadays people look for jobs on their phone. And as you can see in this image, this person is on their mobile phone, no matter, I mean, they could be taking a lunch or in the car or walking around or just getting up, but people grab that phone and they look for jobs and apply for jobs online. So make sure that your website is mobile friendly, it is mobile ready. It's important that you're getting that right candidate, the best candidate, and that best candidate, they're looking for jobs online and they're looking for jobs on their mobile device. And if it's hard for them to maneuver through your website on their mobile phone and the buttons aren't large enough, or you don't have videos where people can share it, or your job postings aren't located on your homepage, then you're already behind the game, and you'll end up being that person that will be saying to me, Kimberly, it is so hard to find great help. And then I'll look at you and say, what's your website like? Is your website mobile friendly? Because sometimes we're the person that's in the way. And I know we don't want to hear that. It's easy for us to say it's hard to find great help, but let's help our organizations out by making our websites mobile friendly. And after this webinar, feel free to check out your website. You pull out your mobile device, go to your website, and see how friendly it is for a candidate to apply for a position for your company. And then check back and let me know how that turned out. I'll give you my contact information at the end where you can let me know. Again, it's important that you do promote from within. Don't forget about your current employees that may be interested in growing up in the organization and moving up in the organization. So promote from within. It's also important that you ask great interview questions. I tell you, with this topic right here, it's critical that you get this right, because nowadays we have candidates who actually come to interviews hoping to not get the job. Yeah. And one of the reasons why they're hoping not to get it, because we live in the world of suing. And so there's candidates who are looking to sue. Yes, you heard me right. They're looking to sue you, go after your personal assets and the business for all kinds of reasons that we can talk about in another webinar. And the platform that I speak on is Stay Legal, Stay Compliant. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but I am an HR compliance coach. So I help businesses and HR professionals to stay legal and compliant with employment laws. And it's important that you get this right, because if you don't interview people properly, or if you have your supervisors or team of interviewers interviewing people incorrectly, asking illegal questions, who knows, you may get a lawsuit on your hands, because that person will realize wait a minute, you're not supposed to be asking me about my age or if I'm married, etc. So with interview questions, stick to the job description and make sure that all your questions are specific to the job. All right. And one example of great interview questions is asking behavioral style questions, interview questions. And the reason why behavioral style interview questions are so awesome is because it focuses on what the candidate did in the past. Because we all know we can interview somebody and they can say that I know Excel and I know this and I know the software system, I've done this before, but they don't give you an example of how they did that. So they could be making it up. So with behavior style interview questions, the best predictor of future performance is past performance or past behavior. And that's what behavioral questions are all around. Okay. What have they done in the past and how can they do that for my company, your company in the future? Okay. So here's some examples that I think will be very helpful for you. And I'm looking at the last bullet here. Describe a time when you were faced with a stressful situation that demonstrated your coping skills. What did you do and how did you handle that? Okay. So that allows you to really sit back and listen to the candidate and see how they answer that question, see how they come up with examples of how they handled themselves in a stressful situation. And then based off of how they answer that, you can really see in your mind's eye that yes, they've done that before for another company. They can easily do that for our company if we were to hire them. Okay. So keep that in mind, that best predictor of future performance is past behavior. So that's why behavior interview questions are so great. Now, after going through all of these questions and just giving you some tips and talking about effective hiring practices, how many of you may realize that you may need some assistance with your current human resource practices, keeping them compliant and developing the right questions and all that kind of stuff? Now, hands are going up. Raise your hand if that's you. A lot of times companies need assistance with that. A lot of times companies don't realize what they need to do to be legal and compliant with human resources and employment laws. And here on the slide, it just gives you a listing of some of our services. As you can see there, we do provide HR consulting, webinar hosting support, and online and on-site HR audit systems and our practices. And feel free to check us out if you have any additional questions regarding that. So again, my name is Kimberly Benjamin. Just wanted to give you some tips to assist you with your effective hiring practices, what you need to do to hire more effectively going forward. And if you would like to reach out to me with any questions, or if you would like for us to conduct an on-site audit of your HR practices, or you need help with your interview and all of that stuff, feel free to reach out to me. I look forward to being able to hear from you and assist you. And I'm excited to be a part of the E-Suite here that Delmar has created. And from one HR professional to the other, I told her, I said I wanted to make sure that I was on board to support her with the launch of this wonderful system. So if you have questions and need additional support, I'm sure a lot of that will be in the E-Suite too, that Delmar's put together. But if you should have any additional questions for me, feel free to give me a call at our toll-free number, or follow us on Twitter, or you can check me out on LinkedIn, as well as you can check out our website. And so it's been a pleasure being your instructor for tonight. Remember to stay legal, stay compliant, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye-bye.